I will open the May 6th, 2025 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Time is 5:02. We have two public hearings on our agenda and no other agenda items other than the minutes. So I'll go in the sequence that is printed. So I'll do 28 Maple Street first. I'll open the public hearing. It's 5:02 for 28 Maple Street. It's an application for a special permit for a home occupation for an acupuncture studio or office, or I'm not sure what to practice. Thank you. All right. I read through this again, and I know that I had previously read, there was one letter from a neighbor. Is that in the packet here?
Yes, it's
Okay.
the last page.
Let me read that to the file just for minutes. Okay. This is a letter from Elaine Ratton, Wratten, to whom it may concern. This is in regard to the acupuncture business request for 28 Maple Street. As a resident of Maple, we think that the street is too tight and busy to handle the extra coming and going. Although we understand the idea that someone would like to use their own personal property for this purpose, we believe it will create hazards for children, dog walkers, and the neighborhood in general. We suggest a car counter to show proof of how busy this street is, especially in the morning and evening. Maple Street's used as a bypass to avoid downtown heavy traffic. An added commercial property would add to the confusion. Thank you, Elaine Ratton. I don't know if you've happened to get that message directly to you or not.
No, this is the
Okay.
first time hearing that.
All right. 28 Maple, is that next door or where is that?
I am 28 Maple. That is my address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wasn't she?
She's 32.
I thought that's what she said, but
I didn't
check it.
I don't see, anyway, somewhere in Maple Street.
Doesn't.
Thank
Okay,
you.
all right. Do you have any? You also live on Maple Street, so you can speak to the kind of traffic situation.
Yes, I do. I don't believe that while there is, some traffic that comes through to cut through to town, I've never noticed that there's an abnormal amount of traffic. Maybe related to any other street that people need to pass through to get from one side of town to another.
Okay,
It's very specific to where you're coming from and where you're going, in my opinion. Maybe it's, I used to live on a very busy road in Ithaca, so to me, it seems quite peaceful.
okay,
And I don't believe that, my business hours, I tend not to schedule before 10 o'clock. And, only see one person per hour. I don't treat all day long. It's usually a break around lunchtime for a couple of hours. So the idea that, potentially 6 more vehicles at most, I don't really ever see anybody more than 6 people a day. I don't like to work, that much. I like to pay attention to my patients. I don't believe that the comings and going of 6 people throughout a whole day that will typically end, I finish by 5 o'clock, should make any significant difference to traffic on the street or present any potential hazards to children and or pets.
okay. And when she talks about morning and evening, I assume that's kind of rush hour,
I assume so.
which would be kind of before and also after, I would say, your primary work hours.
Yes, and, I do occasionally see somebody until 6 o'clock, but again, there would be one vehicle parked on the driveway, out of traffic's way.
Okay. And when I drove by, it does look like when there is parking a lot on one side of the street, but you can still get 2 cars by. It's wide enough really for 3 cars.
I believe so.
Okay.
I haven't measured that specifically, but
I mean,
I've-
you might
I've
need
seen
to
it in-
slow a little bit, but certainly
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's a one-way street by any means. Okay. But that, I mean, it's not unusual, particularly when there's a new application for a home occupation, that there's a concern for whatever change it will
certainly.
do. I would say I can think of one example in the past when we've addressed it by giving a kind of a term to the home occupation, and then it could be renewed so that we could have a chance to evaluate, everybody could have a chance to evaluate whether it actually is any issue, any relevance basically, or, whether the concern in the letter was, turned out to be a
Justified,
genuine
sure.
concern or not.
Mhm.
Yep.
I understand.
Okay. I assume, Josh, you don't have any comment on this one? No.
Susan Cave, can I make a comment to that one?
Can you what?
Throughout the day, they're all parked
Oh,
off
sure.
street.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there was no public
Alright.
comment.
Oh, public.
Well, I'm public too.
Okay, all right.
Because I have
That's
my
true.
house. right
Okay,
there. I use the garage right there.
talking to your,
And I never see a problem with traffic as far as that goes. I go up and down the street all the time. I use my garage there for storage for my building stuff.
okay,
And I worked on a house there and I've never had a problem with too many cars going down the street. And if there is another car, it's easy to get right by a second car. So never had an issue there.
yeah, I would say that anytime I've been there in that block, if there was one or two cars parked, it's
That's
you
a
know, the
lot.
most, yeah. Okay, do you know where Dave lives? He's your neighbor?
Are you on the corner?
No, I have the house. I have the, you know where Williams is?
No.
And I have a green garage that faces Maple Street right
Right,
there.
okay, yes.
That's mine.
Okay. Nice to meet you, neighbor.
Yeah. He
Can
doesn't
we
actually
have-
live there.
I mean, how much is too much? I mean, this has come up. I don't think this is a problem, frankly, but you know, I do like to cross my T's, dot my I's. And I tried to do some homework on finding standards in villages and New York State. What's the standard for residential area traffic? I found 0. And you know, most of it concerns highway usage, you know, yellow line down the middle. So what has this come up before? What would we do? Even if we put a car counter out there,
Yeah, how do we
Well,
evaluate
yeah.
that?
yeah, so what? How many is too many?
I don't know. I would, relative to residential areas, I can remember this sort of question also coming up with hospital projects and like
Mhm.
added traffic on Beaver
Mhm.
Street and certainly things would change, but you know, when you talk to anybody who does traffic studies and that sort of thing, it's still designed for significantly in excess of what we're accustomed to.
Right.
So I don't know. You know, so it's sort of a standard that we're comfortable with, but not necessarily as a normal standard, I would
Right.
say.
Right.
And any change is, you know, probably a change for the busier, not,
I
It's
remember
still-
there were a lot of comment, you know, what I read was there was a lot of they gave importance to the number of cars in order to decide whether or not the lanes were wide enough. So
Mhm.
apparently when you have more cars, you want wider lanes.
Sure.
You know, but again, I mean, I live on Susquehanna Avenue. God knows there's traffic and even that's not that big of a deal, but there's parking on one side. And so you do have to be able to go past one another. Again, how many is too many? I mean, I don't think Maple Street approaches Susquehanna Avenue.
I agree. I mean, I've never counted them, but it's
Right.
hard to believe. But I can sort of imagine that it's certainly busier. I don't know. Using this as a shortcut seems like it's somebody who's not going into Cooperstown. So I don't know if it's someone commuting to Oneonta or commuting to Fly Creek or something. So I have no idea how many people there are that do that.
It
But-
also comes down by the gas station, sorry to interrupt, and then you can access Beaver Street and the other interior streets to the hospital, and people may be avoiding Chestnut on occasion
Okay.
there, but so, you know, but again, I don't.
It's
think-
also relative.
Yeah.
This
right.
idea that people are going to come down from 28 and then use this as a shortcut to go south would be true only if people lived, there are very few houses. Anyone in Fly Creek would just cut through Todd's phone. and go down.
Yeah.
So there's not a big population of people for whom this route would be advantageous.
Be
Right.
highly unlikely to be tourists, certainly as somebody that's familiar with the area.
And she mentions it to avoid downtown, but it's not, you know, it's not even near there. It's Glen to Chestnut
Right.
Street. So
Yeah.
it doesn't even hit that area.
Yeah.
And this person may also not have an idea of the kind of traffic that I'm looking to generate,
Right.
which is not much more than, you know, I have now. I see on average 12 folks a week. So when I say that 6 maximum in a day, like that's definitely not most of my
Yeah.
work days. And in fact, with, you know, part of this permanence for me, we'd be able to schedule on more days of the week, not necessarily increase overall my major traffic. But in that case, I may only see 3 people in a day,
Okay.
4 people. You know, right now I'm only seeing people 3 days a week. So it's not like I'm going to jump to 5 days a week, 6 people every day.
Yep.
Overnight, it may be several years till I'm at those sustainable levels. And I'm not looking to push beyond that.
And when we were talking at the last meeting about parking in general, seemed like that you were gonna have an option of somebody just pulling in behind your car.
Certainly.
Or parking on the street, so it's not even that every car is gonna be on the street.
No, the only thing I can imagine is, a change over time. So maybe one patient would have to park on the street because somebody's
Yeah.
in the driveway, but I can also schedule so that there's a 10-minute gap between folks so that that's avoided. That
Yeah.
certainly can be done without an issue. If that's a sticking point, I'm 100% an option.
I mean, I honestly would entertain the idea of like having a 2-year term or whatever and just give us a chance to kind of
We've done that before.
clarify that it
We'd have
is
to
or is
keep
not
track.
an issue.
I mean, we'd have to remember
Right,
to revisit this.
I know.
I mean, that's to me the difficulty.
And maybe your best measuring stick would be non-complaints or complaints of neighbors in that
Exactly.
regard.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if we did that, we would have another public hearing and somebody could come with actual experience. Hopefully, if there was a problem, they would come to you way ahead of that so that
I hope so.
you seem like you would
Both
be
my
happy to
immediate
kind of
neighbors.
resolve things and, be a very reasonable neighbor. If you ever happen to meet her, you may want to
I shall do so.
talk
Didn't we
to
give
her.
an address? I
There's
just-
34 Maple, according to
34.
the internet.
So
Okay.
she's 2 doors down.
Believe so. And I think they're only here half the year, to be honest.
Okay,
Not that that has any bearing on their complaint.
okay. All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. It's 5:12 or 13 maybe. I think we should maybe go ahead and make a decision on this and then do the other public hearing. We often do it a different sequence, but it seems like
Well, I mean, if we're not expecting anybody else to show up, we might as well take care of it.
yeah, okay. All right, any other general thoughts or questions? And you'll be one of our voters this time, since
I'm sorry.
you can vote today since we only have 4 members. Please. Yeah, sorry. No, oh, absolutely.
Please-
You always comment.
You can
even-
comment, even if you're not.
I'm sorry, I
voting.
apologize.
Seems to me that a car counter is there to determine traffic flow, cars in the street. This is not the case.
Yeah,
This is tantamount to having friends come over and visit you at your home. I mean,
Yeah.
they're coming and they're talking. It's not like a flow of traffic where you're counting cars, see if there has to be a traffic light or a stoplight or things like that. So to me, that's not an issue.
mhm,
I think it's reasonable. I think his proposal is reasonable. I don't see any precedent.
yeah,
And that's in the spirit of home occupation, that's really the vibe I'm going for, is friends coming over to visit me. In
Yeah.
a sense. I want people to feel very comfortable, like they're in their home or somebody else's home, being taken care of.
right. And you said you have a single car, so,
Correct.
so even if you had 2 cars, it probably some of that traffic would be canceled out by
Mhm.
that fact.
It'd be tight with the 20-foot rule from the sidewalk, but I don't know
So-
how strict that is.
So the way that works is the 20-foot rule, it does not prevent you from parking there. It just prevents you from it meeting our parking requirement.
I see.
So you can stack 3 if you want, if that's convenient. I mean, it may be hard.
Theoretically, if
yeah.
you need 9 feet from my neighbor and 9 feet from me, the stretch where I would have the third car, there's only 16 feet. So it is more of a pass through
Okay,
rather than
all right,
a pure parking ability. So
okay,
while I would like to say, yes, I could do that, I think it would be in the spirit of access for my neighbor, tighter than necessary.
okay. Everyone saw that there was a parking plan submitted. I appreciate that very much.
Yep.
For some reason, when I looked at it on an aerial view, it looked as though it was like a single lane access. It didn't look like it had that broad width
Yeah, I
from
understand.
the
Yeah,
street.
certainly.
Okay. Any other questions or any thoughts? Okay,
Just need a motion.
yep. And I was just gonna make one other comment about just, in general, home occupations tend to be sprinkled through the village. They're not, I can't think of anywhere where we have any intensity of them. If you end up with another one in this block, that would be unusual. Certainly if you ended up with 3 or 4 on this block, it would be like life-changing. I don't know that, we've never had that. But all we can do is kind of address each one in the context of the situation that we're, that exists at the time. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Do we want to add, do we want to do, how do we feel about this 2-year thing? I mean, I could go without
I-
it personally, but.
I mean, just in deference to the letter, I think I would tend to do it.
Okay, is there another way we can address that letter? There's an accident on the street or something. I mean, I don't know. Is there another way to address that letter or?
I don't know. Do you want to read it again?
Yeah, I read it.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna do counts and.
No,
you
no,
know,
no, no, no.
And I don't,
No, I mean, we wouldn't know what we were looking for anyway. That's what I
Exactly.
mean. So, like these are personal property, we believe it create hazards for children, dog walkers, and the neighborhood in general. I mean,
bizarrely to me, it almost seems like if there's a car or two parked there, it probably slows everybody down as opposed to having
yeah, it's like. a
nobody
bump out.
parked.
Right.
I mean,
I mean,
I just don't agree with this. So I think this is a little over.
I agree. I don't think it's
A
necessary for
little
Carroll Township
overdone and
for
then
this
sort
rate
of
law for what it is.
to
I
put a
think it's-
2-year thing on him and then have to have another public hearing. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we totally can if
Okay,
if some people want to.
so
Um,
the general, do you have any preference one way or the other? Okay,
Either.
doesn't seem
I
like
don't feel
anybody
it's
does.
necessary.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to grant a permit to Justin Dykeman to operate a home occupation at 28 Maple Street. Tell me when you're ready. With the parking stipulations approved at the ZBA meeting of April 1st, 2025. Is that the right word, stipulation?
I would say
Pardon?
requirement.
Requirement. Okay, so kill stipulation, put in requirement.
And just so there, and we decided not to require any parking, any additional parking that could not be accommodated on the street or.
Right, right.
in the
I think you
driveway.
spelled that out pretty well.
We did, right. Okay. That's the end.
Oh, yeah.
That's the full motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Randy, all right. Would you read it back, please?
You don't want that additional parking?
No,
at
I
the end of
do.
it. You
Yeah.
do want it?
Well, yeah, that last sentence of parking, what did I say? What did we call it? Requirement. Approved at the ZBA meeting of April 1st, 2025.
I just wanted to clarify that that's what I.
She was sort of repeating what was in the minutes
All right.
Yeah.
last time.
To Justin Dykeman to operate a home occupation at 28 Maple Street with the parking requirement approved at the ZBA meeting on April 1st, 2025.
All right. Any further discussion? Have a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. There you go.
Thank you so much to the board. And again, thanks to Chris for his diligent support in this process.
Sure, good luck.
appreciate it. Thank you. I'll send you your certificate soon enough, within 5 days.
I would, as quick as you can get you the placard.
I have 5 days to get you a document, but
Okay.
technically, the moment the invisible gavel
Yeah.
is hit, you're legal to operate your business.
I say you don't have to
Thank you.
post it or anything, so
Okay,
it
Right.
will exist.
wonderful.
All
Have a
right.
great rest of your night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, is this the only board that has to act on this?
Yes, on that particular one, yep.
Okay.
Because there's no change in
Right.
paving or
No physical change.
physical space or anything, yep.
Okay.
All right, we also have a public hearing for 36 Grove Street / 22 Glen Avenue. This is a continuation of the public hearing began at the April meeting. And This is the site, this was available last month, slightly modified from the one that we got all sent around to us. Only in terms of the way that the northern building along Grove Street is where the garage is located.
What's the seeker status?
The seeker was up to, who did the seeker?
Seeker
Planning board?
Satisfied.
Planning board.
Yep. it's
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
kind of
planning, yeah,
deemed it.
I assume they passed it.
yeah,
They agree.
it did, yeah.
Mhm.
And actually H-Barb has approved the demolition
Well done as well. Yep.
completely, okay,
It's just us.
right.
Planning board will make their final.
Site
decision
development plan
in 2
review
weeks,
hearing
Right.
is
but their
coming up.
seeker is complete.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's all we
That's
need.
the only thing that we had to make sure we couldn't act until the seeker was completed. All right. So if anyone has any questions, please come refer to this or we can pass this around. Or Josh is here to answer questions.
Last time, or I have in my notes that we needed the dimensions
Yep.
spelled out. And
And they're actually on the drawings.
Okay.
If you search for them, I tried to write them down here.
yeah, see, well, if you want me to make a motion, I
Well,
only had one hand
you can work with my notes,
and
but,
it's the wrong one,
oh dear.
but,
My notes, but I'll explain them to you.
okay.
And correct me if any of this is wrong. On the southern unit, there are,
The southern unit is on Glen.
yes,
Okay.
well, towards Glen, yeah,
On the-
garage is on Glen. To the outside of the porch columns. The measurement is 4 feet 11 inches deep by 7 feet 2.5 inches wide,
Mhm.
which means it's 5 feet 1 inches from the property line instead of a 10-foot setback, a 5 foot 1 inch setback.
So that would be,
On the north unit, the roof section, even though the garage moved back, the awning piece did not change. So it is 3 feet deep, basically along the entire front to the outside eave. I'm sorry, wait a second. First, there's a porch in the middle,
yeah,
3 feet deep by 9 feet, 19 feet 2 inches wide. But then there's an awning that goes the full length of the building that is also 3 feet deep. That's the dimension you want to use, right? To the outside overhang.
mhm. So this is the eve and this is the,
Well, this is the
Curves.
this is the post. This is the post.
I know we had two of these.
And this is kind of overlapped the post, and then on the post side, there's eve,
Okay. I need
and
a
this is the
picture.
eve. Did you do the right arm?
What? Oh, I didn't
Right?
do anything to it. A surgeon did this.
Oh,
Have a shoulder replacement.
wow.
So do you see it shining?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. Oh, yeah, okay, so here, see what you're talking about with the posts,
So those are
the
these,
two
those
porches.
are the two porches, right?
Okay. And
And
so
that-
that was over here, that's sort of the length of this.
Yeah, and this has changed.
That's the 19.
Well, the section in the middle here is 19.2, and then there's a garage here and then a building here, but the roof extends as a continuous line, 3 feet deep. As a maximum overhang,
Right,
which is the same as the porch. The porch dimension, actually, he said if he needs to, he'll pull the column back an inch or 2 or 3 or whatever he needs to in order to have. that 3
okay,
foot
but at the
dimension.
moment, these are kind of like lined up, it's like flush,
Well,
no,
This is deep, these are deeper.
deeper, oh, those are, oh, okay.
This is 4 feet 11 to the
Mhm.
post. And then I'm sure there's a little bit of overhang. I only did an overhang reference here because there's no post.
Yeah,
So it's not,
so we don't know what the overhang is, or we're just
Well,
assuming it's.
yeah. So in this case, it is an overhang. In these cases, it's post. Those are just. the
So we're just
dimensions
gonna
on
go to the
drawing.
posts,
Yes.
that's into the setback, they're 5'1".
I mean, I'd reference the drawings too,
Well,
but-
it's,
but
it's
yes.
always our fallback.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Did we didn't get any.
So we
public
have
comment.
no other public comment. We got no public comment into you, right?
No new comments.
Okay. All right, then I will close the public hearing at 5:25 and entertain any further discussion or motion. Anybody have any thoughts? at all?
I'm good with it.
Let's go with the motion.
You know, H
Approve.
Barb is good with
Yeah.
it, so,
Yep,
and and there's no public comment at
Mhm,
all. So
right.
there's, I mean, there's nothing to address as far as I can see.
Mhm.
So I'll make a motion to grant a area variance. Now, how would we reference this? This is Grove Street.
I would say along Grove Street.
So just, we'll reference 36 Grove Street. Right? Or,
Which unit, do you know the numbers for the units?
Not yet, I would just reference. Yeah, we don't have numbers yet.
I mean, I would just kind of would reference the southern unit and the northern.
Southern and
unit.
the southern unit and. the
Okay.
northern unit.
all right. Okay, so this is this. So let's do the first one. So I'll make a motion to grant a variance to the southern unit of the development at 36 Grove Street for the construction of 2 porches. I mean, basically, we just want to reference, I mean, they're 4'11" deep, but then they're truly 5'1". Really, right?
Yeah, I think, I mean,
I mean,
would.
what do we want to reference? I mean,
in-
we can put all this in, but
In this situation, I would suggest that the face of the building is right on the setback line. So these porches encroach on it. So I think you can just talk about the physical encroachment, the scale, the size of it, and not necessarily,
yeah, okay, so each is 7 feet, 2.5 inches wide
by that deep. Yeah. Okay.
and 4 feet, 11 inches deep.
Mm,
I mean, giving relief of what?
5'1".
7. The relief is 5'1"? How do we figure that? 9 and,
Well, it's only 5'1".
oh,
from the
10.
property
Oh, it's
line.
10. I'm thinking
Yeah.
12. Okay. Giving relief of 5 feet, 1 inch into the setback
Yeah,
from the property line.
Yeah, 4'11".
Yeah, 4 feet 11 is the relief. Okay.
Yeah, I was,
I told you, I can't think.
that's right.
We vote on that or? do it
I
both
would,
together?
I would do them both.
Separate ones? Oh, okay. And did I say that's on the south building of the development? Okay, so
Okay.
also on the north building of the development. An area variance for the construction of an awning. Which will be 19 feet 2 inches wide.
It's actually the porch.
It's a porch, I thought the.
The awning is there's an awning, a porch and
that
awning,
was-
but it's
Oh,
a
okay,
continuous
so-
roof.
And 3 feet deep. With an awning roof. At the garage doors. On both sides or just the south side?
It's on both sides, but the garage is actually moved back here, so
Oh.
this is the building as opposed to
Oh, okay, all right.
just
so-
on either side of the porch, basically.
Okay, they're on either side of the porch with a maximum depth of overhang. Of 3 inches deep,
3 feet
3 feet, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
for the overhang
So
itself.
the overhang itself. Okay, did we get that?
A maximum time, 3.
30 feet. Okay, for the overhang,
For the
well,
overhang.
read it back. I'm not on my game tonight, sorry.
Okay, it's from the top. Marcy, and motion to grant an area variance
Just here.
to
Yeah.
the southern unit of the development at 36 Grove Street for the construction of 2 porches, each being, or actually each is 7 feet 2.5 inches wide by 4 feet 11 inches deep, giving relief of 5 feet 1 inch into the setback from the property line. On the north building of the development, she's granting or moves to grant area variance on the north building of the development for the construction of porches, which will be 3 feet deep with an awning roof at either side of the porch, with a maximum depth of 3 feet for the overhang.
And the 19, it's also, it's 3 feet deep at 19 feet 2 inches wide.
Maximum depth of 3 feet.
That's the first dimension.
That's the porch. Go back earlier.
Okay, at either side of the porch with a maximum depth of 3 feet
I think even earlier. Start from the beginning on that one.
on the
north side. Yeah.
Area variance for the construction of porches, which will be 3 feet deep
And 19 feet 2 inches wide.
and, okay, 19 feet 2 inches wide with an awning roof at either side of the porch with a maximum depth of 3 feet for the overhang.
I think that's right. Is that right?
I do.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. I would just add, if you asked you to make clear earlier in the minutes or at some point in the discussion that the face of the building is on the setback line. So everything we're talking about is,
Is into the setback, yeah.
so that'll clarify the kind of encroachment
Yeah.
question.
Right. So Chris, does that make all sense to you?
It does.
Okay.
And to you, Josh? Do we understand everything correctly?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Is your relief? Wasn't sure if that 5'1" relief, whether it should have been 4'11".
Yeah, it is. It's 4 feet 11,
Porch is 4 feet
which
11.
makes it, so the relief is 4 feet 11.
Okay,
But that means you're 5, I don't think that's what I said. So the 5 foot 1 inch is just what's left
Is to the property.
of to the property line. So you can probably drop that.
For the giving relief of 5 feet 1 inch.
Yeah, just drop that whole phrase.
So it would end.
Yeah,
The motion would end at 4 feet 11 inches deep.
yes.
Is there a second for that amendment?
Second.
Right? Any further discussion? Okay, ready for a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go. All right,
Go to it.
thank you. All right, we have minutes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
For the minutes?
I found some.
Always.
No, not always. That's what's so frustrating about her. On page 2,
And everybody can hear today can vote on the minutes. Everybody
okay,
was here.
up from the very bottom. Okay, so you got that dot at the end. The dot above it is extraneous.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, I see.
What is
Yeah,
it?
you're right.
Isn't that fun?
It is right there.
That's so.
Thank you. I live for this.
Motion to eliminate the dot,
All right.
So moved.
seconded by Randy.
It is.
Any other,
Oh, yeah.
Comments or changes?
It's like an appendix. You know, probably used to do something.
any other comments? All right, motion to approve with that amendment,
So moved.
or not motion, but.
Oh, to vote.
All in
Yeah,
favor?
yeah, aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Victor, do you, yeah, Randy did. Do you want, you can,
I'm sorry.
you can vote. Do you,
Aye.
aye, okay, all right, unanimous. Everything tonight was unanimous. Good. Thank you all. Anything that you know that's coming up that we should prep ourselves for?
No.
Oh, having a public hearing for 13 Pine next month, right?
Oh, yes, that's
Oh,
right.
that's right.
It's 13
Across the
Uh,
street, not
yeah.
Pine, but Maine.
May. Oh, yeah,
Pine.
May.
It's transient rental, right?
Yeah,
They've delayed and they're hearing until June, so
Right.
that will be coming, but it's
yeah.
nothing new, but I
Okay.
should have, yeah.
So I'm aware there are a couple of letters that have been submitted. Will
We
you
have,
share those with us or?
we do, I think we have a letter or two thus far, but I could send them out sooner than later.
Mhm.
Generally, any questions that they're raising that we should,
I haven't, honestly, I haven't really given them
Studied
much
them?
time. I think I wasn't a lot of letters. I
Next
think there's maybe one letter and I just put it in
okay,
my to-do pile, but
okay.
I will make sure you get them with enough time to read them thoroughly. Promise.
Chris, does anybody know, did the Weldons, I mean, they kept up their registration, but did they actually do much renting? You know? I mean, was
Of
that a
the
very
carriage barn?
active,
I have no idea how active. I guess I always assumed it was active, but
but in, recently, I'm just curious, because it does, is it a change? For the neighborhood, if it's just that thing in the back, I'm definitely, I need to know more about doing it in the house. But, I was just wondering how active it was.
Chris, did you have any more discussion with them about which way they would want to go with respect to the?
No, really just what we discussed in the meeting was how we left it. I guess my concern is that the applicant might have heard the word hotel and thought, I'm not a hotel, and didn't consider going that route simply because the word means something else in our imagination. And
Yeah.
perhaps that might be a better avenue for her, but I don't know. I mean, this board has a process and maybe this will work, but she's aware that there's another
yeah, that's another
process if this
option for.
process doesn't.
She hasn't pursued it with you, then?
I haven't.
And if we voted it down, she would still have that option, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, because that's trustees would
Mm-hmm.
consider that special permit.
But other than that, no, there's no new business on the horizon.
Okay, good.
Nope,
No,
Thank
no
you.
other new applications.
none as of yet. No,
Okay,
which is good. Maybe you'll have a quiet summer.
yeah, who knows?
All right. All right, then we will adjourn. All those in favor? Or
Aye.
motion to adjourn, I guess I should say. I mean, I'll make a motion to adjourn. There's a second. Okay,
Second.
Marcy second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get home before it rains.